Good evening, everyone. This is Jeremy here at ExtremeWeatherTracker.com, updating your tropical weather at 7:30 p.m. on August the 19th, 2011. We got several things to talk about in the tropical Atlantic as it remains very active. We have Tropical Storm Harvey located here just north of Honduras. We also have Invest 97L located here about 800 miles to the east of the Lesser Antilles Islands, and also farther to the east off the coast of Africa we have Invest 98L and Invest 99L. Now, I'm only going to focus on 97L and Tropical Storm Harvey today, as these are the first two features that will be affecting land masses over the next couple of days. Now let's dive right into this with Tropical Storm Harvey, and we can see him located just to the north of Honduras. This is the coast of Honduras here, and this is Belize here. Tropical Storm Harvey has gained strength today, and the hurricane hunters currently are investigating the system, and the National Hurricane Center is indicating that they're finding winds of 45 knots or so. Now you can see there's a nice cyclonic turning going on here. The low-level center is located just off the northern coast of Honduras, somewhere in this area, and you can see these popcorn balls of convection blowing up here near the center, and this is indicating that this is becoming a very strong, will become a very strong tropical storm later on the next couple of days before it makes a landfall somewhere on the Belize coastline. Now, as you can see, the outflow is fairly good in all quadrants, and this is indicating also that this system is undergoing some intensification. Now, the ship's model give this a 40% chance of rapid intensification over the next 24 to 36 hours before it starts making landfall here on the coast of Belize. Now, as you can see, the convection over this area of the world, you look at the last few frames of the satellite, has really started firing up. You can see all this convection start blowing up here in the southwestern Caribbean, and basically I believe this is due to the MJO, which induces upward motion starting to gradually ease its way to the east and back into the Caribbean and starting to fire up all this convection here. So this area, you can see, is definitely moistening up, and definitely a lot of convection here. I think that Harvey has a slight chance to become a minimal hurricane before impacting Belize. I believe probably more likely to become a strong tropical storm, but other than that, it has a slight chance. Like I said, these compact systems sometimes can undergo rapid intensification, so we could see that as this stays far enough off the shoreline to actually strengthen in this area of the world here where the waters are fairly warm. So once again, Tropical Storm Harvey, we're looking to see if we get our first hurricane of the season out of this. This is our 8th named storm. So far we have 8 tropical storms, no hurricanes as of yet, which I believe is a record to have 8 tropical storms in the season with no hurricanes named as of yet. So this could be our first little minimal hurricane here, as he is a pretty compact system and could rapidly intensify over the next 24 to 36 hours. Now let's dive into the model tracks for Harvey, and as you can see, here's the model initiation right here just off the northeast coast of Honduras, and the consensus brings it just offshore of Honduras and into the coastline of Belize sometime around about 36 hours out. So it has about 36 more hours over water to get its act together, and so we'll see if it does so over the next 36 hours, see if it can actually intensify into a hurricane before starting to interact with the land masses here, which would hinder any intensification. So once again, no threat to the United States, only a threat for Central America here at Belize, and also a rainmaker for probably northern Honduras as well. So that's it for Tropical Storm Harvey, pardon me. Let's jump into 97L. Here's the Tropical Atlantic floater for 97L, and you can see this was what we've been talking about, 50 west here. You can see he's made it pretty much past 50 west and is moving to the west at about 15 to 20 miles per hour. You can see the Lesser Antilles Islands here. So this is something that they need to pay attention to. The Hurricane Center is giving this a 60% chance of developing on their 8 o'clock Eastern Time tropical weather outlook. And you can see there's still a lot of dry air in this area of the world, but the area is moistening up somewhat, and also it's moving into an area of a lot more warm waters. And as you can see, the convection convection has started firing quite a bit, although it is mostly to the north of this broad cyclonic turning in here. So we'll see if 97L can get its act together. Most of the models have been very bullish on bringing this system into the United States as a powerful hurricane. So this is something the United States really needs to pay attention to. Now let's go to the tracks for 97L, and you can see them here just about 800 miles east of the Lesser Antilles Islands, and the consensus brings it up just to the south of the islands here. And if this is probably worst case scenario, this track here, if it stays south of Puerto Rico, south of say Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and then south of Cuba, or possibly just brushing the western tip of Cuba, this would allow 97L really to intensify. Now if it completely impacts all the greater Antilles here, these mountainous terrain here would probably keep the system fairly weak before it made that northward turn. As you can see, most of the models are going out to here and actually making that northward turn somewhere in here, and actually bringing it up into Florida, or in this north central eastern Gulf of Mexico, somewhere in this area. So I actually want to show you the GFS run. This is the GFS. This is a frame out to hour 204, and you can actually see this would be 97L, which would be Irene, and this is located here around the Florida Panhandle, Alabama area. And as you can see, 979 millibar hurricane, which is a pretty powerful storm. You can see it impacting it, basically bringing it up underneath Haiti, bringing it across the tip of the western tip of Cuba, and then impacting Florida before recurving out and going up the eastern seaboard. So this would be a very terrible scenario for the eastern United States. So I believe all interest in the Gulf Coast and the eastern United States need to keep an eye on the system, as the final track is definitely undecided at this point. Now I want to jump out and show you, this is 98L, located here to the southwest of the Cape Verde Islands, and this is something that the models are thinking that this is going to actually recurve out before interacting with any landfall, any landmass rather. And you can see the models taking it up to the northwest over the next few days and actually recurving it out to sea. This is something yet that will have to be watched, but going back to that GFS run, you can see this here would be 98L, or maybe possibly Tropical Storm Jose, located here, and you can actually see it getting recurved out at about the same time that Irene would be making landfall. So this is something we're going to have to keep an eye on over the next few days to see if these models play out. We also have Invest 99L just to the south of the Cape Verde Islands, very near 98L, and you can see the initial models bring it up also in a northwesterly fashion, actually before recurving it back into this area here. So these two are still very far out. That 98 and 99 we will have to watch at a later date. Right now our focus is on 97L and Tropical Storm Harvey. Now let's go back to talking about 97L. I want to show you, this is actually the GFS 6 to 10 day 500 millibar height anomalies, and you can actually see the low pressure system located here around the Florida Panhandle. And the reason that I believe this will impact the United States is, as you can see, the high pressure system, the high is located in here, and you can see this Texas ridge is backed off over the four corners, and it leaves this weakness, this break in the ridges right here over the eastern seaboard, possibly a little bit farther west and over the east central Gulf of Mexico. So I believe this system will come through the islands. The eventual track will probably have an impact on intensity. If it goes over the islands, then we can expect a weaker system. If it stays south of the islands, and then it will eventually turn to the north as it feels this weakness between these high pressure ridges here, I believe it will feel that weakness and turn farther north, impacting the United States. Now this is also This is the HPC surface map, and this is a really good depiction of what I was just talking about. You can see this is the high pressure. This is the Bermuda Azores High. You can see it located out here, and you can see the high pressure, the Texas Ridge, located, like I said, basically over the four corners, is retreated slightly to the north and west, and it leaves this break right here over the Gulf of Mexico, the central or eastern Gulf of Mexico. And you can see on their graph they have this low pressure system sitting down here, basically crossing the western tip of Cuba, moving to the northwest and filling this break. So I believe anywhere from the eastern coast of Louisiana all the way to the eastern seaboard needs to keep an eye on this, as I believe this will be the target area. I'm not ruling out the western Gulf, but it seems unlikely at this point. It'll be something that we'll have to watch down the road, but that does seem like an unlikely scenario at this point. So once again, Tropical Storm Harvey possibly making hurricane strength before making landfall on Belize, no impact to the United States, but 97L is what we need to be keeping our eye on the next few days. These consistencies in the run of the European and the GFS have all brought it up in this area of the world, and all bringing it up as a major, powerful hurricane, which I believe the models are locking on to the fact that the MJO is coming back into our area of the world, and the water temperatures in this area of the world are very, very warm. The tropical cyclone heat potential is very great in this area. We have very deep warm waters here. So I believe if 97L can stay just to the south of these islands before making its turn northward, that would allow some very, very intense, rapid intensification rather, if this were to happen, if this were to be the scenario. Once again, if it stays over the islands, just close to the islands, then this mountainous terrain in here should keep it weak. And I do want to note that if it takes this track over the islands and stays weaker, it will be less likely to fill this break in the ridge and could make it a little further west. So, but I believe if it will intensify pretty much over the next few days and become a pretty powerful tropical storm, perhaps a hurricane, it should feel this break and should start turning a little bit further north, possibly impacting Florida and the southeast coast of the United States over the next few days. So let's all be vigilant. Let's all have our hurricane preparations in place and have a plan of action, know what we're going to do, because this is the time of the season where it's really, really going to be important to pay attention to what's going on, because this could potentially be a problem down the road. So once again, I hope everyone is enjoying the blog, and I'll see you all again soon. This is Jeremy at ExtremeWeatherTracker.com. You have a great day.